Yeah, my god. Disventure Camp 4, Episode 4 is simultaneously the best episode while also kind of pissing me off. There's a weird middle ground I want to discuss, so let's get into it. Is it just me, or is this episode so much funnier than the last ones? There's so many stupid moments that just get me. I'm sure you all know this about me by now, but I value humor more than most things in total drama and general elimination game shows. And because of that, I had plenty more fun than I had any reason to have. Especially when I do have my gripes with how the latter half of episode 4 played out. But before we jump on that bandwagon, I loved the challenge this time around. It's just paintball deer hunt with a circus aesthetic, but it worked in quite creative ways. I loved seeing everyone's versatile plans and hindrances when combating their obstacles.
We'll give the prey a 30-second head start, something they will desperately need, especially when they found out that their time has already started once I started talking.
Yeah, this is probably the first time I found Derek or Trevor funny. I mentioned Stevie G last time around, so I guess I should discuss Silly Billy. But yeah, his delivery on Trevor is super good. At least I think that's Trevor. I honestly can't remember which one's which. I also respect the hustle of having a funny sounding adjective rhyme scheme for a name. Silly Billy actually makes coherent sense though. Giggly Iggly feels more like the inbred offspring. It fits my personality. I kinda want to talk about the Ivy, Tristan, and Zayd trio again, because I love this line in particular.
Oh, there's always next time. Try to find your peeps.
She said peeps. I love that word. Ivy on paper is my favorite member of the gang, and I really want her to get more moments, because this scene of reassuring Benji that he isn't screwed was really sweet even if it could be considered an empty gesture. Everything she says has a super wholesome delivery that I really vibe with. Ivy's inherent personality is carrying her so far, and I want to see her do something. I'm not saying it's bad that there isn't anything going on though, because for all we know, Ivy's slow build-up is a part of the pacing. So I'll wait with bated breath for the time being. Looking forward to her. Benji is once again slowly but surely getting better. He had at least one funny joke.
I thought Hannah had the votes to get Spencer out, and I'd rise to the top. But here I am, a bottom.
The role reversal of a dirty joke happening in his confessional actually caught me off guard a little. His humor isn't inherently bad, it's just the weird writing and comedic delivery most of the time. And with a little retooling, I could actually see myself liking the guy way more. Still, he's not going to get shot up to the top of the list just because of one amusing line. He still has a lot to prove. But story-wise, Benji's pretty consistent with how he was in episode 3. A really stupid distraction who has good intentions at the end of the day. Putting a minor wrench in Jade and Spencer's alliance was also pretty cool. Showing Benji and Spencer swapping glasses was a fun band-aid solution to my complaint of them looking too similar. I respect the attempt. Speaking of Spencer...
Oh God, no. Never in a million years. I would kill my mother before I...
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still worried that the Spencer and Diego ship arc is gonna drag down the show's pacing, but this was a funny line. Give Spencer more dark jokes. It sharpens his edge when comparing the rest of the cast. To finish off discussing this team, Diego and Hannah had somewhat of a friendship. Unfortunately, it only perpetuated Hannah's fall into mediocrity for me personally. I can see others liking it though, don't get me wrong, but like, come on. I can't be the only one who thinks this emotional shift will never not be jarring when in the context of the show it's in. Call me a sociopath all you want, but I just can't bring myself to care about Hannah's dead mom. So far, the context of her mother doesn't have any physical or emotional stake in the game besides occasionally being sad, which is why it gives off the impression of feeling misplaced. I still think pairing Diego and Hannah together for the episode was good though, since one of the main problems with not just Disventure Camp, not just total drama, but any of these elimination game competitions is falling into the hole of characters getting glued to the hip for the sake of the plotline at the cost of not having as much of an interconnected cast. Hannah doesn't have Amelie anymore, so this was expected. But as for Diego, it's especially refreshing since Spencer felt like all he had beforehand. Good shit. For the most part. Fuck yeah, time to talk about Isabelle. She just killed someone. That's awesome. This time around, let's group up talking about Isabelle with Natalia. Their opening scene with the fire-making contest is kind of adorable, and this was the first time I was sold on them as a dynamic. It gives off the vibe that both Isabelle and Natalia have the ability to finish each other's sentences.
Coming in from the rear, and not in the fun way, is Logan, still placing twigs.
Once again, another kinda good dirty joke. Probably because they don't emphasize the line, making it unexpectedly funny.
She can!
This drum roll is so cute and so hilarious. I'm curious to see how her plan of inflicting paranoia on the rest of the girls with the idea that the boys have the idol will play out. Her having a genuine game plan on top of the hyperactive demeanor really sells me on her strategy and gives me hope that at the very least things are gonna be amusing. I really hope her gameplay ends up working though. We already have one too many idiot strategists, which are good for the story, but having the reverse expectation of the most out-of-place character actually pulling a few fast ones seems super compelling. I'll rephrase from the last episode review. I like them giving Isabelle small moments as baby steps towards her first major play in the competition. At least I'm assuming, because with how many episodes they could push out any sort of idol play, the comedic moments work to endear us beforehand. It's kind of the opposite with Jade. Jade doesn't have enough lighthearted moments in my opinion, meaning most of the chances she gets to leave a good impression in my eyes is during the vote. But Isabelle already leaves me at the edge of my seat due to how fast they decided to round her out as an individual. If she gets eliminated in the next few episodes, I call malarkey. This Isabelle art segment is going to be shorter just because I want to save the rest of the art for this episode's vote. But still, I'm happy she's gained enough of a following. To summarize, Isabelle worked as a good background element on her team's vote. Natalia was slightly more involved than Isabelle, but I still don't like her overall even if she is improving. Not because of anything personal. I just really don't like her humor or current relevance in the game.
I was being for real when I said I trusted Logan. Playing him like this feels shady.
Is this shady? I don't know. I guess it highlights more of an emotional side to the aspect of rating others, which differs from Ted in a lot of ways. That's nice, I guess. I'm cool with her trying to boost morale with Logan, but also she's very much sidelined compared to Anastasia, who seems to be Logan's even bigger girl bonding character going forward. That's Natalia's biggest problem that's being perpetuated. Everything she does in the aspect of being a support feels like it's done better by others, since the Logan-Anastasia dynamic is already providing character growth for Anastasia herself, and making a stake in the game. On top of not being my type of comedic relief, she just leaves me wanting more, which sucks. Like sure, I bet you there's intricacies with Natalia, but they aren't highlighted enough to leave me a strong impression. Sorry. She's no longer my least favorite character overall though, so hopefully that's something. Having a dynamic with the best character is carrying her. Last place now goes to Marissa. Why? Because everything she does goes out the other ear. That's why. Hannah's also getting way more annoying, so she's also worse. In order to fix Natalia in my eyes is if they give her more of an opportunity to make herself known in the emotional sense, whether it be with Logan or anyone else. Because challenge ability and humor aren't doing it for me. Okay, there are several elephants in this room I need to address, starting with Linda. I still love her. I personally don't feel I have the right to talk about if her moment of weakness towards Richard was well done from the perspective of being respectful. I feel that would come off as insincere from me of all people. But from a writing perspective, I thought it was good to bring further tension towards Linda's several stupid beliefs, such as immediately coming to the conclusion of Anastasia and Logan being somehow a future couple. She's someone who's constantly holding on by a thread, and I find that kind of amusing.
Ugh, he is so dramatic. Tell me I'm wrong, Ted.
Yeah. Well, I'm fucked.
This genuine acknowledgement from Ted on his own position due to putting early season faith into the team's most unpredictable competitor was done super well. It also brings Richard up from somebody who's more proactive and unpredictable from the understandable perspective of him and his family being disrespected. After this episode's elimination, I'm most curious how Richard and Linda will play out for the rest of the game. Oh, Logan. I'm sorry, buddy, but I gotta talk about you now. I believe Logan's sudden shift towards favoring the girls was too out of left field without much build-up. There was Logan and Natalia's moment in episode 3, and the fire-making competition in this episode. but I never got the impression that this was Logan feeling any more out of place than he was on the other side of the team's hierarchy, especially when from his perspective, the one the girls are voting for is Richard. Like, say if we got more scenes of Logan's day one friends butting him out of the conversations, I'd be more inclined to believe he'd want to switch sides. Or they could have currently built up more of an indecisiveness in Logan between voting what he believes to be Richard or Anastasia. If that was the vibe which Odd Nations already tried to show us, I didn't see it. But still, this decision isn't all bad because the narrative consequences on paper sound really interesting. Because now Logan is unfavored on both sides, and we're seeing his previously likable everyman archetype completely backfire. That's a super cool conflict. It also gives us an opportunity for Natalia to swoop in and finally make some sort of play. And by proxy, it pairs them up with Isabelle. That could be an unstoppable trio right there. And I'm hoping this prediction has some basis towards actually happening. I love a good underdog, and if done carefully, Logan could be Disventure Camp's best, even if I've already stated my problems with his existing logic. Episode 4's elimination ended up being Ted. I don't like that. The logic overall makes sense on paper with the girls seeing him as a threat and them wanting to keep Linda at arm's reach, but like I said, Logan's logic felt too contrived for my liking, leaving me not liking how the vote plays out. Plus, Ted's entire aspect of talking a big game now feels kind of empty with him dying just like that. His power to read people and his high-risk, high-reward playstyle is just out the window for at least a considerable amount of episodes. We're not sure if he's going to be a returnee, but even if he is, I'm still not going to be happy with his anticlimactic set of abilities now that there isn't some sort of immediate payoff. Plus, I just really liked his placement on the team in general as this big strategist. The only silver lining behind his vote is seeing how Logan, Richard, and Linda are gonna end up. But this was a pretty hefty cost in exchange, and I don't know if they'll be able to pull it off. Ted's the first character I actually really like to get eliminated, which warrants pouring one out for him. I'll miss you, Ted. Call me untrusting, but I don't immediately believe Ted when he says he has kids. I have half a mind to think he could be lying just to get some form of trust from Linda. Yeah, I was straight up wrong. Not mad about it though. A more genuine interpretation of Ted is always welcome. Is this a horrible, irredeemable episode of Disventure? No, not really. I think parts of it are really stupid, but the enjoyment factor never died out when in the face of an engaging cast of characters bouncing off of each other in a fun challenge. Look at Logan's bottle fort. That's funny. Unfortunately, as you can see, his top-tier privileges are currently revoked unless Odd Nations can prove his really weird play has a good narrative purpose. I don't think revealing its purpose after the fact is a bad thing. We just gotta wait and see. Anyways, I love you all, and good night.
Stained Ed Hardy shirts. Yeah, them dudes don't like me, it hardly hurts. I just go home, rip another gnarly verse. Think about the pretty girl with the darling person. When these thoughts get conjured, they run the gamut. From how she looks naked to chilling in the mansion. Cause that's a lot to handle.